Well, hi, everyone. Welcome again. We're glad you're here. We are recording this session, so I think you have options of leaving your video setting turned off or on. It doesn't matter, but we wanted to welcome you. My name is Melly Yeboah. I work as the Director of Graduate Student Life at Wheaton College, but really that's not my capacity on this call. I'm really just a resident of Wheaton and a community member who is concerned with the well-being and welfare of everyone in our community. And I'm going to pass that off to Katrina Burlet to introduce our speakers. And really the purpose of this event is just to draw people together who share an interest in getting involved. And we really want to hear from Katrina and Melly on the call about different ways that we can get involved in criminal justice reform. So we're glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm Katrina. I'm a resident of Wheaton, also grew up in Hinsdale. So I've been a Western suburbanite my entire life. And I have gotten really involved in justice and criminal justice reform since graduating from Wheaton, and feel like I would have appreciated someone telling me some easy ways to get involved before I was involved. And so, yeah, this is just an opportunity to give a brief overview of one of the major things that's happening in criminal justice reform right now, and how we as people in the Western suburbs can get involved. And I'll let Melly introduce herself as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melly Rios. I am the wife of Melly Rios. He is currently serving a 45-year sentence at the Fayetteville Correctional Center. I started getting involved maybe three and a half years ago, and just want to keep moving forward, and I'm just so I get so motivated and so so excited with everyone working around us just to bring our loved ones home. And it's just an honor and pleasure to be working alongside everybody at PI, for justice, every group that we the End Illinois, the End Business Project Illinois. It's a blessing and an honor to be working next to everyone. And I'm honored to be here today. Thank you.
So we are just going to talk a little bit about parole, what that is, why we don't have it, and why we should. And then we're also going to hear a little more from Melly about how that the implementation of a parole system in Illinois can affect women and women who have incarcerated loved ones, and people who are also incarcerated themselves, of which we do have many women in the state of Illinois who are. So the reason that I really got involved in this was because I started coaching a debate team at Stateville Correctional Center, which I don't think I knew existed before I started coaching debate teams in prisons. But I learned about it when I was going in there for the first time. It's a maximum security male facility in Joliet. And so I went in to coach a debate team there, as I had done debate at Wheaton College and loved it and wanted to teach other people. And the very first time I went in there, I asked the 14 gentlemen in the class, hey, what are you guys interested in debating about? What do you want to talk about? And one of the guys was like, we would really like to debate bringing a parole system to Illinois. And I was like, yo, I know I look young and white and naive, but I am not that gullible. I know that a parole system is a core piece of any criminal justice system. That's how you know that when you're releasing people, they're not a threat to public safety. That's just like how the system works. I'm not just going to believe this like my first time meeting you. That's not how we're going to start this off. And I went home that night and researched it and found Illinois does not have a parole system. And we got rid of ours back in 1978. So since that time, everyone who has been sentenced to time in prison serves the entirety of their sentence before they're released. And especially people with long sentences, there's literally nothing they can do to get time off, to shorten the length of their sentence, to prove that, you know, they've been rehabilitated, or even right now, we don't even have a system of compassionate release. So there's literally not a way to say, hey, I'm on my deathbed. Can I please go die peacefully among my family? Literally, there is nothing. You cannot get out of prison for any reason. And I was baffled. I had no idea that this was the case and was pretty disturbed by it. So I started doing research with a bunch of these guys into ways that other states do parole and how important it is, and the ways that it is so beneficial to communities and prisons themselves, that it promotes rehabilitation within the prison, and that it gives people the hope for release and return to their families, and how healthy that is, and how good that is, and how restoring that can be. And so, yeah, I ended up working with these guys to create a pretty common sense piece of legislation for how we could make this happen in Illinois for the first time in over 50 years. And yeah, that bill is now on the House floor, and we are trying to get a total of 60 votes for it. And this is the first time I've been involved in a push for legislation. This is the first time that I've really gotten involved in state politics, and I've learned a ton. But I think the most amazing thing about this, and what people seem to keep saying is the most unique, is that it's a bill that was created by the people who are most impacted by this bill, and that it's championed by people like Melly, who are their loved ones on the outside, who are the people that we often forget about, who are most impacted by the lack of parole. So Melly, if you're comfortable and you would like to share a little bit about what this would mean for you and your family, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Wow. Just, exactly what you said. It's difficult. Like, the families are also incarcerated. I know what it is to have, a significant other in there, but I can never imagine what the parents go through, right? Like, what do they go through? How do they? I mean, I deal with so many different loved ones, mothers, fathers, children, girlfriends, wives, and it's like there's never. I think this past year or two has been the best. Like, we got so much hope to look for. Every time somebody gets released, it's like, oh my God, like, yes, like, that's awesome. Like, it's coming, it's happening, right? Change is coming. And and those of you who have me on Facebook, even when Securus called them individuals and no longer inmates, that's like a win for us, right? Because now they're looked at as somebody. I'm a mother, and there's so many mothers behind those walls that do not get to hold their children, because when you go visit, it is not a family atmosphere, right? I mean, they try to take all that away from us, and it's so hard to, you know, it's just so hard. One time I went, and one of the CEOs that was checking me in, she was like, how do you find the time to get dressed to come here, and you get here so early in the morning? And I said, well, this is my date night. This is my date night. This is my, where we have dinner together. This is, you know, we try to fit everything in two short hours, right? And then it's and you make it happen. You just you find the strength to make everything happen, and you get it just from each other, watching other family members in there. And I mean, there's no relationship that's perfect. And that's not only between husband and wife, that's between mother and son, daughter and father. Like just, but you gotta make sure that when you're with them and when you're you make their life as normal as possible. They see the outside through us. They see it, you know how many times where me and Benny will start to get into an argument, he'd be like, listen, remember, you're my peace. And it stops because I want to, I want to be his peace, right? And I'll come back with a smart remark. Well, I argue with you because I want your life to be as normal as possible. But it's just you gotta, it's not, you gotta not focus on the bad. You gotta focus on making it right. How you make it, and I was just having a conversation with Katrina, and no matter what religion you believe in, you just always got to keep that with you and keep the faith. Keep the faith and make sure that your time is coming. It's just all on his time. And Benny still has 26 years to serve, but we know that he's not going to serve that. We know that. We absolutely know that. And I think that's why don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh, it's a piece of cake. He's locked up. We know he's coming home. No. It's never that. There's a lot of tears, and it's mainly me like, man, I miss you. I'll tell him I miss you and I love you and I just need to be home. And then I see him studying with my daughter over the phone really quick, or if she needs help with a paper, I'm making sure that I'm writing down everything he wants. It's hard. It's time consuming. 20 minutes, it's hard. It's hard. And then he has other family that he needs to call, or, whatever the case may be, but he always makes sure that the home front is fine. So even with the visits starting now, even though we have no contact visits, right? I mean, I encourage everyone, you need to get in there and at least see them once a month. They need that. They need that so bad. You need that. You need that. You need to make sure in person that they're okay. If you do a video visit, all you see is their face all the time, but you don't see their physical body. Like, you don't see, are they eating? I could share pictures of Benny 10 years ago, and he has aged so much because that's what prison does to you. That's what prison does to you. And it's just something that we need to do for each other. You need it, I need it, and I respect everybody's wishes, but I encourage you to at least go one time. You get 2 visits a month, at least go one time. Pull them out of that cell for 2 hours. Let them see you. Let them, your face, your hands, everything, your hair looks so different in person than it does behind the screen. Let them get that. Give them that. Give them that happiness. I guarantee you they need it. Even if they tell you, I don't want you to come because of this. I talked to a lot of other guys in Stateville, and they need that. So
Melly,
yeah,
first of all, you are an amazing wife.
thank you. You're
Benny
amazing
is
too.
so lucky to have you.
Oh, I'm lucky to have him too, though. You believe me? I am. Yeah.
A lot of people on this call, though, don't have a loved one in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who can't relate or don't have anyone to go in to visit, what would you say? Like, how would you explain what the opportunity for parole would mean? And I think if it's okay, I'm just going to reiterate what you said at the beginning because you were a little choppy.
Okay.
That your husband Benny is in Stateville and he's served 19 years and
Today.
has 19 years
Today is-
today. Wow.
Today is his anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
And without the opportunity for parole, would serve another 26.
Correct, because he's sentenced under the Truth in Sentencing Act. So everything he has done, he's earning his master's right now. He will get no time considered served off of that because of the way he's sentenced. So for those of you who don't have loved ones in there, when Benny went away 19 years ago, and this goes for everybody else that's in prison, and I hate to say this, it's like if he passed away, right? I have no clothes. We have no clothes. We have nothing left of him. He has nothing. People forgot about him. Family members forgot about him. And you still keep those few faithful around that. But it's every time I talk to my mother-in-law, 75 years old. So kind of put yourself in those shoes. Let's forget about, well, a lot of people think, well, you know, they're there for a reason. A lot of people are there for something that they didn't do. My mother-in-law is 75 years old, and she's not, you know, she's not a healthy woman. So imagine being able to talk to somebody on the phone that you love so much, and you might leave this earth never being able to hug them or hold them or touch their face, touch their hands. You know, life is so short. Who are we to judge? If we bring back parole, we have so many mothers and fathers that will get to spend some time with their children before they leave this earth. We have so many kids that are being raised just by single mothers and single fathers because there's no possibility for their loved ones to come home because there's no parole. Give their children that opportunity to get some of that parenting, you know, get that love, that hug, that, because even when you're in a visit, you cannot hug your child the way you want to. They stop you. You can't pick up your child. You know, just imagine that. Imagine a world of never knowing if you're ever going to be able to hug your loved one again. Just imagine that. Just close your eyes and imagine your son, your daughter, your husband, your whoever, your wife, that you'll never be able to hold them again. You'll never be able to have a private conversation with them again. You're not able to build a future with them. You're not able to see all the great accomplishments they can do while they're out here, because there's so much talent behind those walls. Just imagine that. And it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone. So imagine 10, 15 years from now, something happened and there's no parole. You can be in our shoes. And we need to stop this. We need to stop it. They are human beings. They have people that love them. And there are very good people behind those walls that need to be here with their family. There's just so many reasons why, just to stop so much. You know, I can go on and on about this. Just to stop everything from, you know, a lot of things would stop happening. If you bring a father home to their daughters, they'll have a man to look up to. And that's one thing that, you know, Benny, my youngest daughter, she teases us all the time. She says we're cringe because he's always like, I love you and blah, blah, blah. And he told her, I want you to know what it is to, how you should be loved, right? This is the way a man should treat you. And that's what these young girls need. They need their fathers out here. These young men need their fathers out here and their mothers out here to teach them. To teach them. Because when they go to visit them, they're in prison, it's like a punishment. Because you can't move, you can't talk, you can't do this, you can't do that. So they're like, man, why do I want to come here, right? It's like being punished. I don't want to be here. So they slowly fade away. So just imagine your loved one, imagine yourself in our shoes. It is not something that you want to go through. And I hope if you don't have a loved one in incarceration, I hope you never know what it is to go through. I always say this. The two men that I love the most in my life, I will never know. I cannot experience life in the real world with them. My father, because he passed away, and my husband, because he's behind those walls. And they are the two most important men in my life.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Melly, thank you. We're so glad you're on this call. I know I am.
Thank you.
I think it really helps for people coming from all different backgrounds and encounters with the carceral state to really hear from somebody who's been and continues to be directly impacted. But I think going forward, we're going to hear how we can get involved in helping people like you. I think one of the important things that I've come to, Katrina told a little bit of her story, is that through social action, through coming together in our communities, change is actually possible. So before I ask Katrina a couple ways we can get involved specifically around this particular bill, I want to see if Sharon Crone has something to say. Sharon, you on the call? Okay, it's possible that Sharon has her hand up unintentionally, but Sharon, feel free to, oh, okay, is that you? Okay, maybe not. All right, Sharon, I'm glad you're here. Either way, so we have just about 8 minutes left, and I want to pass it back to Katrina to give us some specific action steps about how we can get involved.
So the bill that we're working on is called House Bill 2399, and we've passed out of the House committee and we just need to pass it on the floor. So the main thing that we need from people who support this right now is reaching out to their representatives and telling them that this is important, that this matters, that we want people to be reviewed and to not just put people away forever, but recognize that when the judge makes an original sentencing decision, they only know and they're only considering that one moment, that one action in that person's life, and they could never know who they're going to become 20 years from then. So we should be looking at people who have been in prison for decades and asking if they still really should be there, or if they should be, helping to raise their daughters. So yes, the bill number is HB 2399. I'll go ahead and drop the link. This is for the Illinois General Assembly website. So it's a little bit, it's a clunky website. But if you click on that link, it will have a synopsis of the bill on that page, and it will also show you the representatives who are directly sponsoring it. If you want to get more involved and continue to be updated on what's going on with this bill and learn about how you can do more moving forward, you can sign up for Parole Illinois' newsletter. So Melly and I have both been working with Parole Illinois, which is this group that communicates directly and very intentionally with directors of the organization who are currently incarcerated, who are really leading this push. So like I said, a really, really unique kind of movement wherein the people who are actually closest to the problem are the people who are offering the solution, which is something that I've heard so many people ask for in so many different situations and is actually happening right here. And so then the other thing I'll say for Sharon or anyone else who's interested in learning more beyond this, we're actually hosting a virtual open house tomorrow. So this, there will be a Zoom link that me and some other people from Parole, Illinois will just be on between 11 tomorrow and 2 p.m. And you can come, ask questions, learn more, learn about the specifics of the bill. If you don't know how to figure out who your representative is, but you want to contact them, we can talk about that then. If you want to hear more stories like Melly's, we have a bunch of people who are working with us who have their own unique interactions with the criminal justice system and their own reasons for why they would really benefit from having parole. So I think that's probably all the information we'll share with you for today, and hopefully leave you wanting a little more. And yeah, we'd love to see you tomorrow, or to see you sign up for getting involved more with the work that we're doing. So Melly or Mary, do you want to say any parting words?
Yeah, I just want to say, and Melly, do you want to say anything first before we?
Just thank you for having me. Thank you for all who are here. Truly appreciate it. Thank you.
We're glad to be in this space with you, Melly. Real quick before we close, I just want to recap, I think part of this work moving forward really does require disrupting a narrative, right? That just isn't helpful. And I think I've heard three on this call that I want to summarize. One is the narrative of incarcerated people. I think, Melly, you reminded us several times that these individuals are human and are fully deserving of rights of citizenship and belonging in our community, of opportunities for life and well-being, and thriving. Another narrative is the narrative of crime and criminality. I think when we talk about parole, some of the pushback we might hear has to do with, are our communities safe? And what does it mean for individuals to be released into the community? And do I have concerns around that? And I think the narrative around crime and criminality, I think it needs to be disrupted such that we talk about what actually will make our communities more safe and what will strengthen families and children going forward. So as we continue to engage in our different spaces and spheres of influence, we can speak life about our fellow citizens and our fellow human beings. And then the third one is the capacity to make a difference, right? I think sometimes we hear this, like, what can I do? Or the system is too big and it's overwhelming. And with that, I want to give a quick shout out to several people on this call. First, Erica Bray Parker, sorry. I'm just going to give a quick shout out. Wheaton City Council member is on this call. So change, I really believe, thank you, happens at the local level. And right now we're talking about Illinois policy, but change is possible when we come together as a community who has an imagination, a capacity to imagine a more healthy and thriving community. And this can happen at the local level when we come together and join with each other in saying we believe that there's a better way forward. The Wheaton Public Library is on this call. I'm thankful for that. And in addition to many friends. So this is pretty exciting. So the last thing I want to say is let's stay connected. Katrina gave us an opportunity to connect through Parole, Illinois. That's a wonderful place, but watch this space as we continue to engage in conversation in Wheaton and the surrounding communities and in Illinois about how we can participate. So let's focus right now on HB 2399 and see this action we can create at the local level. So we can do this, right? That's what we're gonna do. So I just want to thank you again, Katrina, for sharing your insights, and Melly, your experience and your wisdom with us. Thanks for taking 30 minutes out of your time, and we hope to see you guys again soon. Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mary.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Janice.